when he was talking about how the white guy, his ancestors had owned slavery, and they said the 5 things you don't talk about is
religion.
I can't remember
sex.
what.
I'm gonna tell you, religion. I wrote it down. Religion, sex, death, money, and Negroes. I told HRap, you know they just say Negroes back in the day. You know they.
Right, yeah. But I'm like, and then he laughed with him. I'm like, what the fuck is so funny?
Right. He did.
Where's the joke? He chuckled with him. So yeah, and
his name was hey Shelly, hold on, I'm gonna keep that up. His name was Elias Wall. His name was Elias Wall, and he owned over 4,000.
Yes, no, he owned over 4,000 slaves. That's probably 4,000. That's a neighborhood. Like, how many people live in Inglewood?
Yeah. I mean, it can be a suburb. It's a small suburb.
It is a small, right. So, and then when he went back and was talking to the Africans, he made it, how many of y'all, what did he say? They came up off of profits from the wealth of the slave trade. So yeah.
One dude raised his hand and was talking, we came up.
And he owned 500 slaves. But again, like they said in this one and in the last one we watched, it wasn't based on race. It wasn't that they were inferior, or I would say they were, so to speak, inferior. But like he said, white folks Europeans had already said, we're not enslaving our homes. We can kill them, we can take over,
right.
Conquer them, they can torture them, they can do all that, but they're not going to enslave them. Because Christians don't enslave Christians.
Yeah. Speak on it. Yeah, he did. Yep. That was mentioned.
So, and like they said before, like, HRap said when we were watching them play, you could buy yourself out of slavery in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
You could rarely buy yourself out of slavery in the United States.
And if you did,
and you didn't have, go ahead.
And if you did buy yourself out of slavery, let's say you my wife, and I buy myself out of slavery, I can't buy, if I buy you out of slavery, I can't free you.
Right.
There's something like that. Yeah.
And, in Africa, they didn't have on the chains and, they didn't wasn't getting whipped and salt poured in their wounds, and they didn't have elaborate mechanism to make sure that you didn't escape, or that you were, you just knew you were in bondage, and you knew until you worked out of your debt, that's where you were.
And to add on to that as well, Shelly, is this. Why y'all want to pretend that we put ourselves as, well, black people did it too. Well, since black people did it too, why don't you tell the whole truth? Black people did it too, and slavery was only a debt being paid. When you had slavery was only supposed to be for 7 years. 7 years.
Right.
So when you hear about it, 7 years, people like, okay, do y'all remember when he mentioned Anthony Johnson?
Yeah.
Anthony Johnson was a brother who owned a African. This is now, if Henry Louis Gates, and he could have did this and got away with it. The story of Anthony Johnson is this. Anthony Johnson, y'all heard him. He was a powerful brother. He owned his own land. He even had white indentured servants. It was only supposed to be for 7 years. A white man walked past the brother that Anthony Johnson owned and was like, let's just use his name as Fred. Fred, what you still doing working for Anthony? He's like, man, I'm a slave. He's like, but you've been here 14 years. He's like, yeah, but I'm a slave. He said, well, come on down here and I'll pay you. So Anthony like, shit, I'm out of here. So Anthony goes to court and sues that dude for the property, aka the dude who was in bondage, and sued him for the property. And that's how in 1770, either 68 or 71, slavery became permanent. So again, if you want to keep it real, tell that story, Gates. But he don't want to do that. You want to highlight the fact, well, y'all did get taken by brothers, didn't y'all? Come on, son. Come on, son. So, I don't know, man. Like you said, Shelly, it's a dope get down. I'm really enjoying it, but I'm not enjoying Gates. I'm not enjoying Gates.
Well, on that rights, the rights fields, talk about the rights fields when that land, the ball land, because you know, I think he was showing that was his great grandfather that those stories were told through the line.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's why he was bringing this information. Then he showed the book, all the names that his grandfathers and people kept of all the slaves and just their first names and their kids and their children. And the one particular story of what they pointed out was Priscilla. And he said he saw the name Priscilla when she was 10. And then he saw in the record book that he saw Priscilla's name again when she was 20. And her children that she was having, you know what I mean? So that traced down the family tree, and they came across what's her name? Pamela Polite?
Yeah, Polite.
Pamela Polite. When they talked to her, and she know her family tree through that, you know what I mean? That was dope, you know what I mean? A lot of people don't know what their African ancestors bloodline came from, you know what I mean? That was very
right, because I was gonna ask y'all, how far back can y'all go?
Shit, not far from me. I could go back to my mom's. Well, on my mom's family, I can only go back to my mom's grandmother. Her original name is Esther Cotton. I've never tried, but as far just on knowledge of family, my mom's grandma, my grandmother's mother, Esther Cotton, as far as I can go. And I had an uncle named Ed Cotton, and I know in some roundabout way we are related to Whitney Houston. That's it. My grandfather, that's her husband, Theodore Whitmore. I could probably get far back with him because one of his brothers is still alive. They live up in Milwaukee. My granddad, I can only go back. I could get far if I could get to my dad's father's mother, because we did some research on him, and the person he thought was his grandmother was actually his mother, and he's from Rosewood. Now my dad's mom, I could get her back to her being Nat Turner's cousin. That's as far as I can go. Because when you hear me, like at the top of my show, I announce my ancestors, and you hear me say Turner, Battle, and that so forth and so on. Those are my relatives.
Okay.
So Nat Turner, I found out my Aunt Louette passed away September of 19, and that's when I found out Nat Turner is our cousin. So Liggins, Williams, Liggins, Turner, Battle, Duncan. Those are my dad's folks.
Well, in my family, on my father's side, which is My mother's side, I couldn't tell you how far it was. I just know my grandmother. I can't say anything for that because on my mother's side, they don't even fuck with it. I mean, I'm sorry to say that, but they don't. You know what I mean? I have a lot of my mom's from Little Rock, Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Once they came out to California, they never went back, and it's just that it. I got an uncle out in Arkansas, and so I have family out there that I don't even know. You know what I mean? And I have cousins that say, you need to go out there and meet your family. I'm like, yeah. I can't get upset at my mom, but I'm kind of disappointed why she never really educated us on that family tree on her side of the family. Okay, cool. On my dad's side of the family, we traditionally update our family tree. You know what I mean? And I can go back to my great grandfather, and we can see it on paper, and we try to update it. It's so big that, you know, my kids now look at it and, oh, this is how we related to this is how we related to that person, this person, that person. So after going further than that, you know, I mean, I can probably take my great grandfather on my dad's side, you know, but I have cousins, 2 cousins, matter of fact, that did the what's the ancestry blood thing, you know, and they said we traced back. They found out some stuff way back. So I'm thinking about doing that myself. But we got, you know, it's deep, man. It's real deep. So, you know, I think you had talked about did that yourself, didn't you?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So even doing that, like it's still once I got to my on my dad's side, I could get back to his father's great. It would be my 3rd great grandfather. Okay, and then I could get back to my second on my mother and my father's side. I can either go back to my 3rd great grandfather and mother, or my second great. I can't get past that because once you get, and it's crazy looking at like the census where they listed them as Negro, like, you know, like I can go back as far as like the late 1700s, but on my mother's side, because she was a white woman, I can trace. She's Jewish. I can trace her all the way back to Russia before they came over here. So
wow.
Yeah, it's just, and for me, like because I did the ancestry, I know my makeup, like the parts of Africa that are in me, so to speak. But I would like to know, like, what's his name, Samuel Jackson, like to know specifically, or to know my Priscilla, basically, you know, to see if I can go back. And I did go through Ancestry, the Ancestry.com thing, and build my tree. Like I can find, you know, because if you do it, you can find documents to show where they started, you know, where they lived, and so
they give you history. They give you history. They give you history.
So I do. Well, no. So with that, I did a 23andMe for the ancestry, the DNA, and I found a first cousin. Okay, first cousin, because we knew my uncle had a child out there who the girl put her up for adoption because she was white and my uncle was black, and they didn't want, you know, her having no kids, I know, nigga, basically. So they made her put the baby up for adoption. And we always thought it was a boy that was put up for adoption. Come to find out, it was a girl. And through the DNA test, you know, putting it out there, I was able to find it. So, you know. So that